DNA evidence from a pizza box has led police in Washington, D.C. to a person they believe is responsible for the brutal murder of 4 people. This man, identified as Daron Dylon Wint, is suspected of torturing the victims and setting the crime scene on fire.
There is a warrant out for his arrest now, charging him with first-degree murder. Just a short time ago, Washington's police chief gave an update on the investigation, calling Wint to turn himself in.
Over the past 24 hours, the Capital Area Regional Fugitive Task Force has searched several locations in Prince George's County, Maryland, looking for Mr. Wint. Information gained from interviews and new information in the past few hours, we have information that we believe Mr. Wint is currently in the Brooklyn, New York area. We do believe that there is a connection between this suspect in this case through the business. So right now, it does not appear that this was just a random crime, but there is a connection through the business of the suspect and the Savopoulos family business. Right now, you have just about every law enforcement officer across the country that is aware of his open warrant and are looking for him. I think even his family has made pleas for him to turn himself in.
Wyatt Andrews has been closely following this case, and he joins us now in reaction to the new information. Wyatt, thanks for being with us. Wyatt, we were asking, because we heard for the very first time through that police press conference that there was a possible connection between the victims and the suspect. So we were wondering what your impression was of that information. And certainly, you've been covering this story since it broke. Right. What the neighbors are saying about the fact they must be breathing a sigh of relief.
This is very important news to the neighbors because until that official bit of information just came out, if you lived in this area, you had no idea you had no way to know whether this was a planned and well-plotted, staked-out kind of crime, or whether it was a random home invasion, and the neighborhood was targeted for the affluence that it enjoys. And so now this is very clear evidence from the police that because this young man worked for the owner of the house, Savopoulos, there is a chance that he was well known to the family, was known by the owner at work, and may well have been let into the house, because remember, the police have said from the beginning that there was no forced entry into this home. The other interesting thing about that is the police also confirmed that this young man is the person of interest that's in the video that police released over the weekend. After this crime unfolded a week ago today, an assailant took the family's Porsche 911, drove it to Lanham, Maryland, which is 13 miles from the District of Columbia, torched the car, abandoned the car, and then was captured running away from the scene. Well, we now know that Mr. Wint is from the Lanham area, and not only that, the main manufacturing facility for American Iron Works, where he worked for Mr. Savopoulos, is just about 2 miles from where that car was dropped and about 4 miles from where we think Mr. Wint lived.
You know, we also learned today from police, as they're releasing a few of these details of their investigation, is that some DNA evidence was left behind, in particular an uneaten pizza crust that possibly the victim may have consumed while he was in that home. What does that really say so much about how well thought out this robbery, murder, whatever police are calling it, how well thought out this suspect planned in advance?
Well, one of the most important things about that pizza is that it was delivered at some point in the evening when police presumed the crime was already underway. We have no way of knowing at this point whether the physical abuse of the family had begun at that point, but it is to many experts a sign of extreme callousness the way somebody undertaking a crime of this magnitude would cavalierly try to order a pizza and eat while people are sitting there in terror in front of him. The CBS News just recently confirmed that this DNA match was made by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. It's an arm of the Justice Department, and the D.C. police worked in conjunction with the ATF to make this DNA match between what we're told was just all he had to do was touch that pizza. In other words, we believe that this was something as simple as skin cells on the outside of the pizza crust, and they matched that to Mr. Wint's DNA, which was in one of the databases available to federal authorities. probably because Mr. Wint had a criminal record in the state of Maryland.
Wyatt, the police chief did not get into this during the presser, but tell us about the significance of the $40,000 Mr. Savopoulos was instructed to leave outside by one of his assistants. How is this connected to this crime?
We know from several sources, both in the neighborhood and through the police, that on this time last week, $40,000 in cash was delivered to the doorstep by one of the assistants to Mr. Savopoulos, again, one of the victims and the owner of the home, under orders to just leave the $40,000 in a package on the front doorstep and then go away. So after that, so police have said they are operating on the assumption that this was some kind of payment in order to make the ordeal of this family, the abuse of this family, go away. But of course, what we now know is that roughly 2 hours after that money was delivered, the house was set on fire, and after the fire was brought under control, investigators went in and found 4 bodies.
Investigators also said that they believe he is in the New York City area right now. Any connection to New York that we know of?
What we have been told by sources is that it's believed that Mr. Wint has friends or even a girlfriend in the New York area, specifically Brooklyn, and this is why police believe that Wint is traceable to the Brooklyn area and why they have enlisted the help of the New York City Police Department in an all-out manhunt that's going on now.
Wyatt Andrews reporting from Washington, D.C. Wyatt, thank you so much.